for me, Jack and Noah, one of the most compelling parts of this football season so far, and current football, college and pro, to me, is the second and third act quarterbacks. With the transfer portal in college football, we've never had more, bounce around quarterbacks. But do you realize, and I took you through this last hour, that of the top 20 teams in the first college football playoff committee rankings that were released on Tuesday, 12 of the top 20 teams in the country are quarterbacked by transfers.
Yeah.
At least one-time transfers.
Sure.
And as I said, there's high-profile guys like Carson Beck and John Mateer at Oklahoma who came in, but Dante Moore, and some of these guys are 5 stars that didn't pan out at their first spot or second, like Dante Moore, who's now at Oregon after being at USC, and Miller Moss was at USC. He's now at Louisville.
Right.
Chandler Morris and Haynes King from right here in Texas, Highland Park and then Longview. They had to bounce it a little bit to find Virginia and Georgia Tech in the ACC. There's Diego Pavia,
sure.
the quarterbacks that have bounced from small school up to big school.
Trinidad Chambliss.
Well, you still got Diego Pavia, Devin Dampier, who's at Utah.
Yeah, he's at Utah from New Mexico.
And he replaced Diego Pavia, essentially. When Pavia bounced, he went to New Mexico. And so now he's at Utah. And yeah, maybe the best story of the small school to the big school is Trinidad Chambliss at Ole Miss, who's team 6 in the country, probably going to make the playoff.
From Ferris State, baby.
Ferris State. And then there's Francisco Mendoza, who's gone from Cal transfer to Heisman favorite, possibly the number 1 overall pick in April's draft. That's what the Jets fans are already clamoring now with the trades that they made with the Cowboys, that they want that number 1 pick to take. I played this for Jack earlier. I'll play it for you guys.
Italian name for the Jets fans out there.
Well, and for folks who don't know who is Francisco Mendoza, he's not just one of the best quarterbacks in college football. He's from Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
But he's a grandson of Cuban immigrants. So grew up.
Cuban.
Football was just a thing he did. He was originally committed to play football at Yale.
Wow.
And decided, then he got a late offer to Cal. So he went to Cal.
Another good school.
But he already has a business degree. Listen to this guy talk about how he tunes out the Heisman hype. This is crazy.
Personally, I delete all my social media. The only social media that's on my phone right now is LinkedIn and YouTube to watch videos.
All right, so he's a total nerd.
LinkedIn, baby.
He's a finance major. He's already got a business degree.
Good for him. From Berkeley.
He's a total geek. I love it. So that's Francisco Mendoza. So those stories are compelling to me, and 12 of the top 20 are in. But guess what? The second and third act quarterbacks have also never been more prevalent in the NFL, where you have the old guys like Aaron Rodgers, who's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Joe Flacco's 40 years old. Those guys had a duel on a Thursday night a couple weeks ago. Aaron Rodgers, first ballot Hall of Famer. Joe Flacco will get some Heisman from Hall of Fame push when it's all said and done, but I don't think she'll get in. But, the more intriguing second and third act quarterbacks are the former number 1 and high draft picks who are finding new life right after bouncing around, and they were taking the blame and getting bashed for not being good and bust, like Baker Mayfield, of course. Mac Jones right now is reestablishing his career with San Francisco, learning from Kyle Shanahan. He's stepped in when Brock Purdy's been down and played pretty well. He's going to land as a starting quarterback somewhere after this time. But, you got Baker Mayfield in Tampa and Sam Darnold in Seattle. Those are the best 2 examples, obviously, with, both were, that was the first and the third pick of the 2018 draft. Yeah. And Darnold by the Jets. Browns would take Baker and they go to dysfunctional organizations where they take the blame for the team not being good, and they just stayed the course. Kind of like these college quarterbacks. They just, there's a time where you would have just, given up on football at some level. I made enough money. But they didn't. They believed in their talent. They believed in their ability. That's the story that's why these are compelling stories, because they get to go prove it, even though like Trinidad Chambliss at Ole Miss went to Ferris State, that's in, this because you're from Michigan. It's in Grand Rapids.
It's Big Rapids. Not even the Grand Rapids. It's smaller. Yeah, it's around that vicinity.
Got no recruiting offers out of high school.
Right, D2.
Goes to Ferris State, and they win the Division II National Championship. Right. And all of a sudden, Lane Kiffin's like, okay, we need a backup quarterback. And now he beats out Austin Simmons, and he's got the 6th-ranked team in the country. But it's happening in the NFL, too. Darnold and Baker Mayfield are the best examples because their teams are really good. And the Rams, the Buccaneers have a huge game this week in New England, by the way, and their young quarterback, Drake May. But those two, do you realize that for a long time the punchline was those 2 were drafted ahead of Josh Allen, who was drafted with the 7th pick of that draft. And, of course, Josh Allen is an MVP player. But these guys are now in the mix for the MVP.
Sure.
Their combined records are 12-4 for the Seahawks and the Buccaneers. They're both strong candidates for the MVP this year. And, Baker Mayfield has a big blow-up game against the New England Patriots this weekend. Look out. I mean, he may push himself to the number 1 spot. Sam Darnold's coming off a game with the Seahawks where they beat the Commanders on Sunday Night Football, where he went 16 for his first 16.
Yeah.
And they roared out on the road to a 28-0 lead. And Sam Darnold's playing great football after winning 14 games a year ago in Minnesota. And then there's Daniel Jones, okay? So Daniel Jones.
Danny Dimes, baby.
And I'm going to pause when we say this. There's Daniel Jones. And again, when you start, you Arch Manning folks out there, when you start giving up on quarterbacks after some bad games as they're learning their way or finding their way, Daniel Jones also went to a dysfunctional organization, the New York Giants, which when it had Tom Coughlin and Bill Parcells was a very functional organization. Since Tom Coughlin stepped aside, they have not been functional.
Yeah, it's been over a decade.
Been a series of really bad coaching hires, and Daniel Jones was
Judge.
You know, I always say this about Daniel Jones. He didn't select himself 6th overall out of Duke.
No.
That was the Giants.
Right.
And their general manager at the time, Dave Gettleman. And, you know, Daniel Jones probably should have been a middle of the first round pick type of player, maybe even late first round. But he went to New York, the Big Apple, as the 6th pick and the savior, and he wasn't. So this guy got booted right out. Remember, he got released last year during the season. Cut him loose because of the emotional reaction, because they had let Saquon Barkley go. They had signed Daniel Jones. Saquon's rushing for 2,000 with the hated Eagles. And so he just gets outright cut, which in the end, this is why you keep your dreams alive. He ends up landing in Minnesota, where he went to the quarterback guru petri dish with Kevin O'Connell and learned how to play quarterback at a higher level with a functional organization. And what do you know? He lands with the Colts, and now he's got a team that's 7-2. And his team believes in him so much that they just traded 2 first-round picks in the future to get Sauce Gardner because they're going for it. And listen to Albert Breer of the NFL Network or Sports Illustrated. Albert Breer, said this with I think he was on the Dan Patrick show, that, this tells me that they're playing for now and for the next several years, and Daniel Jones is not just a stopgap.
Chips the middle of the table on the core that they have now, right? So, they're basically at the spot now. Their coach is in his 3rd year. Their GM's in his 6th year. And so they've got this core of players that they really believe in, right? So on the offensive line, it's Nelson, it's Smith, it's Raymond, it's Tyler Warren at receiver, it's Downs, it's Pierce, it's Pittman, obviously Jonathan Taylor at running back, veteran players like Buckner and Franklin in the front 7. You've got a really good young player in Leatu Latu at defensive end. So you're really pushing your chips into the middle of the table on those guys. But in particular, you're pushing your chips to the middle of the table on Daniel Jones. Because to me...
Yeah, he's exactly right. Because if you're going here and you're giving up 2 future firsts, you believe in your quarterback. And Anthony Richardson's time there, maybe he resurfaces down the road somewhere like one of these, second and third act quarterbacks. Because, Anthony Richardson came out too soon, didn't play enough college football. And let me just say this too, and then I'm going to give you the best story of all of these and reset it. But don't give up on your hopes that you can be a good player. Believe in yourself, believe in your talent. But also, the quarterback position, I think, is going to benefit from this big picture.
Sure. Because
more quarterbacks are going to have more opportunities to play more football and start and not stand behind people and not get to play. So, and NFL teams there's only 32 of them, and they're always going to be searching for quarterbacks. I think the quarterback play is going to improve, just based on the ability to find your spot and play. Francisco Mendoza was not seen as an NFL quarterback by many when he was playing at Cal Berkeley while he was getting a business degree. And now he says, the only social media I have is YouTube, so I can watch Kurt Warner quarterback breakdown. So he's learning how to play a quarterback, and now he goes to play for Kurt Signetti, and he's getting her done. So I just think the play of the quarterbacks will increase over time because, like Anthony Richardson's a great example. I think players are going to realize, because they're already talking about Dante Moore going to the NFL. Dante, stay and play.
I'd stay.
Stay and play, make money. I mean, I want Austin Novosad or my guy out of Dripping Springs to get a chance at some point there, but the data shows you to stay and play as much football as you can. Don't rush into the NFL. You're getting paid now. Get good coaching, play a lot of games, play like the Manning family wants for Arch, play 30, 40 games of college football, then go to the NFL. And you'll be more seasoned and ready to go. Don't rush in. It's a bad idea. But if you do go to the NFL and it doesn't work, stay the course. And the best example of this, of all of these second and third and fourth act quarterbacks, without a doubt, is from right here in Austin, Texas. It's the quarterback of the North Texas Mean Green, Drew Mestemaker, who actually didn't play. Listen, he was on with Rich Eisen on our station this week. Listen to Drew Mestemaker. So Rich Eisen's taken his audience through this story, which we know pretty well here in Austin because he was at Vandergrift. But this is incredible. This is the story of Drew Mestemaker, who is in the best of all these stories.
Now, North Texas is 8-1 this year. The quarterback of North Texas, Drew Mestemaker, kind enough to join us right here on the program.
Sir.
How are you, Drew? Good to see you, sir.
Good to see y'all too.
I mean, listen, I could ask you a whole bunch of questions about your story, but I'd love to walk our audience through it. So you're from Austin, Texas, correct, sir? That is correct?
Yes, I am.
All right. And what high school did you go to there, Drew?
I'm from Vandergrift High School.
Vandergrift High School. Okay. And you first started a game at quarterback at that high school when, Drew?
My freshman B team.
So what grade were you in when you started for your freshman B team?
I was ninth grade.
Ninth grade. Okay. So, and then the next time you started at quarterback was when, Drew?
Against Texas State in the bowl game.
There you go. See, we've set the table. So you went from freshman B team at your high school, Vandergrift High School, right, in Austin?
Yep.
To starting for your North Texas Mean Green against Texas State in the bowl game on January 3rd of this year.
Yeah.
Okay. You were back up to...
All right, so there you go. He walks through the whole story. It's a great interview. You can find it. And that's, he didn't give in. He played safety, played corner at Vandergrift. He helped them get to a state championship game. I don't think he was on the team that won the state championship. He was already off at North Texas. But he was training to be a quarterback, and is often working with quarterback coaches, and he didn't give up on it just because they had Braden Buchanan, and they had a kid named Deuce Adams, who was the son of Mike Adams, who was a great wide receiver at Texas back in the 90s. And Drew Sanders, the head coach at Vandergrift, hired Mike to be an assistant coach on his offense. And so his son came and transferred in and took his spot there. He was going to be the heir apparent to Bo Buchanan, who's now playing catcher for the Baylor Bears.
There you go.
A really good athlete, really good player. And so, but again, like all these quarterbacks we're talking about, never gave in, never gave up. And now he's starting for Eric Morris at North Texas. They're 8-1. He leads the American Conference in every statistical passing category. And can I say this on the way to the timeout before we go horns at half past at the bottom of the hour? If you have a coaching vacancy, and I think last I checked, there are a few Power 4 teams
just
looking for coaches.
Just a couple.
Can I suggest Eric Morris?
Yes, you're going to have to.
What's the most important position in sports?
It's going to be a quarterback.
Yeah. And so you want a coach who can do what? Identify good quarterbacks and develop good quarterbacks.
And that would be him.
It's been one of the key for Kurt Signetti and his quick turnaround at Indiana.
Yeah.
Meteoric turnaround. He brought his quarterback O'Rourke with him from James Madison, so he knew the offense. And then he found Francisco Mendoza,
who's been an upgrade. And that's
been a huge upgrade.
Rourke was great.
But can I just give you the resume again?
Yeah, please.
Eric Morris, North Texas. He was an offensive coordinator at Texas Tech and discovered and identified a kid named Patrick Mahomes.
Pretty good.
In East Texas, who was more of a baseball player at the time than football player. He's pretty good get. Then he identified a kid while he was the head coach at Incarnate Word named Cam Ward out of South Houston that no one was recruiting. 0-star recruit. He almost won the Heisman Trophy. He's now playing with the Tennessee Titans. He also recruited a guy named John Mateer while he was the offensive coordinator at Washington State. John Mateer's now at Oklahoma, and now he's found this kid, Drew Mestemaker. You might want to think about hiring Eric Morris. I'm just going to say.
Maybe give him a ring.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, because we're talking about everybody wants this coach and that coach and high-dollar salaries. How about this guy? Who else has found that many good young quarterbacks? Like, not just anybody can recruit a 5-star that everybody knows is good. He's finding these gems.
Right. Diamonds in the rough.
And they're becoming great quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You have to, at some point, you have a track record that is worth leaning into. Paying attention to.
I think Drew's stat 2 weeks ago, what was it, 608 passing yards in a game? That's just one example.
Yeah, well, and I might want to I wouldn't mind leaning into the Cal coach, whoever's developing quarterbacks at Cal.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because they're doing it at a high level, too, out there. I mean, the best transfer quarterbacks the last couple of years have come from Cal.
Their quarterback now is not bad either.
I know. That's the most important position in the game.
Yeah.
So you might want to have a look.